All right, so I'm tackling some questions that got asked to me over on Instagram, and this is a good one. Why does driving bring out our anger the way it does? There's actually a pretty simple set of reasons. When we think about the types of situations that tend to make us mad, anger is like this perfect storm. For starters, we've got goal blocking. By definition, you are on your way somewhere, so anything that happens to you is interfering with that progress. You also have this elevated, what we call the pre-anger state, because driving is inherently nerve-wracking, whether we realize it or not. On top of all of that, you are surrounded by these anonymous others, people you can easily label. So when somebody screws up, they're slowing you down at a time when you were already tense. And it's easy to label their motivations because you don't know anything about them. They could be the smartest person in the world, but to you, they're an idiot. Okay, so I'm answering questions from over on Instagram, and a couple people asked me, how do you construct anger positively? And this is a great question because there are infinite ways that we can express our anger, and not all of them are bad. In fact, most of them are good. So I'm gonna put this forward in a couple of steps. Step one, understand the problem that is causing your anger. Anger is one of the ways that your brain alerts you to the fact that there's something wrong. You need to understand what that something is so that you can fix it. Step two, you don't necessarily have to stay calm, but you should try to think clearly. People tend to think and do some irrational things when they're angry, and we gotta find ways to avoid that. Step three, try to come up with a list of positive prosocial things you can do. Now that's probably the most important part, so I'm gonna come up with a bunch of examples in the next one. So, what are some of those positive prosocial expressions? Well, let's run through some. First of all, problem solving, right? If your anger is alerting you to the fact that there's a problem, then one of the solutions, one of the ways of dealing with it is going to be to try and solve that problem. But anger can also be channeled into all sorts of positive artistic expression. Things like music, literature, poetry, and other sorts of artistic ways of expressing that feeling. People can also channel their anger into forms of social change, protesting, donating, getting involved in campaigns. These are all positive forms of anger expression.